A story that began with nothing more than a photograph, a casting decision, and two young actors who walked onto a soap opera set without the slightest idea that destiny was already standing there waiting. Long before the glamorous red carpets, before the family, before the decades of memories, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos were simply two hopeful talents on All My Children, a daytime drama that became an American tradition. They didn't know it yet, but a simple headshot would become the first page of their lifelong script. Kelly has said many times that she recognized something special the moment she saw Mark's photograph. It wasn't a dramatic lightning strike, it wasn't a fairy tale soundtrack playing in the background, but it was a feeling so strong that it stayed with her. She looked at that picture and thought, there he is. That's the one. Even though she wasn't planning on marriage, even though she didn't believe in instant destiny, that single moment changed everything. And then came the day he walked into the room for their screen test. Chemistry? Sparks? Let's just say the casting team didn't need to run the scene twice. Soon, viewers fell in love with Haley Vaughn and Mateo Santos, the characters who reflected a powerful combination of youthful passion, emotional connection, and the kind of romance soap fans still remember. On screen, they were magnetic. Off screen, they were quietly building something real. But in an industry where co-star romances can burn fast and fizzle faster, they chose to keep their relationship private. They were young, cautious, and very aware that the world sometimes complicates things that are still fragile. So they protected what they had, letting it grow behind the cameras, away from the noise. Even so, there was one thing they couldn't hide: the way they looked at each other. Even the audience could see it, because real emotion has a glow that can't be faked. As their storyline on All My Children grew more intense, their real relationship deepened. They were navigating long filming hours, passionate characters, and the roller coaster of early adulthood. And like any good love story, they had one brief, dramatic pause, a temporary separation that lasted only a week. But sometimes, a little distance makes the heart shout the truth louder. And their truth was simple. They belonged together. Then came the day he walked into the room for their screen test. Chemistry? Sparks? Let's just say the casting team didn't need to run the scene twice. Then came a turning point worthy of its own soap opera episode. Except it was beautifully simple. No dramatic monologue, no orchestra swelling, just a spontaneous idea and a 2-day break from filming. Mark said something along the lines of, "We're going to Las Vegas." And just like that, they did. They eloped quietly at a small chapel far from the bright lights of Pine Valley. Kelly wore a dress she found at a warehouse sale, and the whole wedding cost less than a fancy weekend dinner. But that was the magic of it. There were no stage directions, no audience, no glam squad. Just two young people choosing love over spectacle. Later, they held a second ceremony in New York, still keeping things private until a radio host uncovered their marriage certificate. And when the public found out, fans didn't feel betrayed, they felt thrilled. The beloved on-screen couple had become something even better, a real one. And while their characters continued to ride the whirlwind of Pine Valley romances, kidnappings, and cliffhangers, Mark and Kelly built a life that was beautifully grounded. They focused on family, on values, on raising children far from the chaos of fame. They welcomed 3 kids, Michael, Lola, and Joaquin, into a home filled with laughter, structure, and the kind of imperfect, humorous stories that every parent understands. Kelly often joked about their old-school parenting style. Family dinners were important. Schoolwork came first. And electronics had rules. Serious rules. Their fans loved this side of them, because it showed a reality far sweeter than any fictional plot twist. Meanwhile, their careers continued to evolve. Kelly grew into one of the most familiar faces in morning television, known for her charm, humor, and endless energy. Mark expanded into primetime roles and film projects, proving he was far more than a daytime star. But no matter how busy life became, they kept returning to what started it all, the show that brought them together. And now, their story has come full circle. On the anniversary of the iconic All My Children, they shared a heartfelt photograph from their early days on the show. A picture so young, so soft, so full of that delicate mixture of innocence and intensity that only first love can hold. Kelly's voluminous, feathery hairstyle from the late 80s and early 1990s. Mark's dark hair with a little rugged charm around the edges. Their faces close together, smiling as though the universe had whispered a secret only they could hear. This wasn't just nostalgia. This was a reminder, a snapshot of the exact moment their story began. For longtime fans, this picture was a treasure, a bridge connecting decades of memories. It reminded everyone why their love story felt so rare. Because in a world filled with staged moments and curated romance, theirs has always been something pure. And just when fans thought the nostalgia couldn't get sweeter, news arrived that the couple would be executive producing a new sequel series inspired by All My Children. A fresh story set in Pine Valley, focused on a young journalist with a hidden past caught between legendary family rivalries. It was as if their personal history had woven itself back into their professional path. The show that shaped their lives is now becoming something they can shape together. And as their 25th wedding anniversary approaches, a milestone many couples only dream of, Kelly and Mark seem more connected than ever. Their bond hasn't faded in the spotlight. It has strengthened. Their love hasn't become predictable. It has deepened. And their story hasn't ended, it continues to evolve. What makes their romance so compelling isn't just their longevity. It's the way they've always kept their relationship sincere, honest, real. They never tried to be perfect, they just tried to be partners. And in doing so, they gave the world something more meaningful than any dramatic soap opera plot. They gave us proof that love found in an unexpected place can become a lifetime. They gave us a reminder that simple moments matter more than grand gestures. They gave us a love story that, despite the glamour of Hollywood, is profoundly human. So as they celebrate not only a major anniversary, but also the revival of the world that brought them together, fans can't help but feel excited. It's romantic. It's nostalgic. It's inspiring. And yes, it's even a little funny when you think about how everything started with nothing more than a headshot pinned to a casting board. And that is why their story resonates. Because it's not just a relationship, it's a journey, a partnership, a reminder that sometimes destiny really does tap you on the shoulder when you least expect it. Before you go, if you want more epic real-life romances, more nostalgic deep dives, and more stories that make you believe in unexpected love, make sure to stay connected. Your support helps bring more beautiful journeys like this one to life. Because every great love story deserves to be told. And theirs, it's only getting better.